Hello everyone, my name is the SeaTactics. I am here again with another episodic review of a spring 2018 anime, this time Golden Kamuy. You can find this on Crunchyroll. It's by Gino Studio, who did Kokoku last season.
味噌ってなんだ?
試しに入れてみようぜ。
うわ、杉本それ、お様じゃないか。
おそま?
うんこだ。
You know, sometimes I like to give that info in some of these episodes, and it seems to always be in Golden Kamuy that I tell you where to find it and what studio it was by and the anime they made before it in the last season. So, I don't know, maybe it's just I only remember to do it for Golden Kamuy, but here I am. But we're doing, an episode over Golden Kamuy. This is a good episode, so let's get right into it. Episode 3 of Golden Kamuy begins with a somewhat playful scene. Sugimoto and Asurpa are having some more of that chitta-tap when Sugimoto brings out some miso. But Asurpa doesn't know that what he has is miso, and at one point calls it poop. She actually throughout the whole episode believes it's poop, which deeply disturbs Asurpa for some reason. I mean, poop to some, may be a delicacy, you never know. But she's freaked out about it. It's actually pretty cute. Then Sugimoto and Asurpa are navigating the forest when they come across a bear's den. Sugimoto inspects it and they determine that there is a bear inside of it and they move on. But they are being tracked by more of the 7th Division, so they split up. One of the 7th Division soldiers tracks Asurpa and they meet. When the soldier realizes that she retraced her footsteps and is hiding in a tree, Asurpa, with the help of the Ezo Wolf, takes down the soldier with some ease. There's a little bit of struggle in there. Sugimoto, on the other hand, gets help from a bear in the den from earlier as it takes out all 3 of them, even tearing off one of their faces before dying along with the rest of the soldiers it killed. Sugimoto and Asurpa then go to Asurpa's home village, and from there, we and the characters learn about the Ainu. Specifics more on exactly what they learn later, because I want to talk about that. But, still, we're going to talk about some important things, like, for example, Asurpa's name means New Year or future in Japanese, and she wants to be a forward-thinking Ainu woman, so she doesn't get the tattoos. She's not a normal Ainu woman. Also, one of the elders, her grandmother, I believe, asks Sugimoto to take her as her wife since Asurpa cannot do what other women in the village can do. The episode ends with the 7th Division taking over with a badass guy missing part of his head and brain and an old man with a katana who wants the treasure. I think they all want the treasure, and what I mean by take over, by the way, is not like take over the village. I just mean like he takes over the 7th Division army. So that's gonna be pretty interesting to see how that works out. But before we get into the Ainu stuff here in just a quick second, overall this episode was extremely well written. It was very well paced. I loved this episode. This is my favorite episode yet, just because we got to see more of what episode 1 and 2 brought, and then later on in the second half of this video we got to see more of the Ainu. We got to learn about them, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to watch this anime in the first place, is because I didn't really know about the Meiji era. I didn't really know a lot about the Ainu. I knew a little bit, but not a whole lot, and this is almost kind of like a really cool history. I don't want to say like historical anime, but it uses a lot of actual history, a lot of human history in its story. It's kind of like this year's Drifters in a lot of ways. But onto the Ainu, we learned a lot about them in this episode. It's a real treat. For example, the bigger the tattoo on their mouth, so the ladies get a tattoo around their mouth if you don't know, and the bigger that tattoo is, the more important their husband is, which I thought was pretty cool. So I assume that otherwise the tattoos they get around their mouth is something like the more older they get and the more experience they accumulate, the bigger that tattoo gets. Of course, Asurpa doesn't want that tattoo because she's a forward-thinking little girl, so I thought that was pretty nice. Also, the Ainu people are very open to new things. I did a little bit of quick research. That's true. They're very open, and that's one of the reasons why the Ainu do not largely exist anymore. I believe there may be a very small sect of Ainu people, but other than that, they have assimilated into Japanese and Russian life at this point. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't know about the Ainus, because there isn't a whole lot left. And The Ainu were very forward-thinking people, which I kind of like that about them, but they still had their own ways, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. Also, another cool little thing, they used the language of the Ainu in this episode. So the Ainu people in this series talk like Ainu people. I assume it's some form of native Japanese, with a combination of maybe, if you're probably talking to Ainu people in Russia, it's probably more native Russian maybe. I'm not sure how that works, but this was some form of native Japanese as far as I could tell from the research. Of course, you know, it's really hard to tell what form of language they're speaking, but from the area they were in and from what it sounded like some form of Japanese, and I think it's native Japanese. So I'm definitely not a historian on that, so research this with discretion. I bet a nice book about the Ainu people would be awesome. In fact, I may buy some later, because that sounds very interesting to read up about these people.
おばあちゃん、俺になんだって？
うんこ食べちゃダメだって。
うんこじゃないですよ。
So about the cubs, the Ainu people, when they would raid these bear dens, and they would take the bear for their meat and whatever it may be to survive, they would often take the cubs, they would capture them, and they would raise them, and then they would basically kill them, kind of like a form of ritual or a form of tradition where they would, after a couple years, a year or two, maybe even 3 at the most, of raising these bears, they would then kill the bear, take its hide and use it. I don't know if they actually eat it, but I know they used it for, you know, the pelts and stuff like that to carry on, which I found very interesting. And the way they looked at it was almost, you know, it's very backwards, right? But the way they looked at it, I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was very interesting to kind of dive into their culture in this episode and see how they treated these cubs. And the one reason why a Serpa didn't get close to the cub that Tsukimoto is getting close to is because she got close to one before, and it was obviously sent off to be killed for this traditional ritual thing, and she didn't go, and she felt regretful about that. So I thought that was a cool little touch. It helped build, you know, Serpa's character, gave her a little bit more backstory, and also at the same time served a purpose in the story. So I like that a lot. Also, the Ezo wolf earlier in this episode. It is an extinct species of gray wolf. In Japan, it's called the Ezo wolf. In Russia, it is called the Sakhalin wolf. I'm not sure how that's someone who knows Russian in the comment section. I don't know how to pronounce that. Do it phonetically, I guess, for people who are oblivious like I am. And is actually called the Hokkaido wolf. And this part is from Wikipedia that I got, and this is kind of how they went extinct. It was exterminated in Hokkaido during the Meiji Restoration period when the American-style agricultural reforms incorporated the use of strychnine laced bales to kill livestock predators. So what that is, the strychnine, I'm not even sure what that is. It's like a white powder. It's very poisonous. It's not fun if you eat it, that's for sure. You will die, and that's what happened to all the Ezo wolf, sadly, or well, the Hokkaido wolf. Also, some people still believe that some still survive on the Sakhalin Island. I'm not sure where that is. It was also one of the 2 subspecies that were found in the Japanese archipelago, the other being the Japanese wolf. I thought that was awesome when I read a little bit more past it. It's pretty interesting to actually see this anime go in depth kind of into everything in this period, the animals that were alive even, and the food they eat, the chitatap. Just this anime is obviously made by someone who deeply cares about this stuff, and you can tell. And I want to go back and read the manga after this as well, or the novel, whatever it's based on, or it may be original work, I don't know, I can't remember. But this is an anime that has been treated with care and is very well written. And the last thing I want to leave you with is the Ainu people. It's explained in this episode. It's also a real thing as well. They would give the young people really embarrassing names to ward off these kind of evil spirits or like bad luck. And the name that Serpa got is some weird name, but it translates to grandfather's asshole. So that was obviously fun. And one of the kids' name is Poop, which I thought that was just kind of funny.
アシリパさんは何て呼ばれてたんだい？
エカシオトンプイ祖父の尻の穴だ。
そりゃ病魔も逃げ出すわ。
And they would later on give people actual names after they get a little bit older. So Serpas, of course, we figure out means a new year or the future. As for the animation and the art, it's definitely holding this series back right now, but is still a must-watch of this season. The combination of learning about the Ainu, the story with the high stakes, and characters you truly care about make up for its shortcomings. You have to watch this. This is easily one of the better anime this season, and if you're not watching this, you're doing yourself a disservice, and I promise you that. Sure, it may not look the best. It's probably, in terms of budget, it's probably this era of anime's Berserk 1997 in terms of animation quality, but the story is still very good. I really love this anime. I really love it, and this is going to be one of my all-time favorite animes from this year probably if it continues to do what it's doing now. So we'll see. I hope it doesn't drop off, but I don't think it will, and if it does, that'll suck, but I think you guys should totally watch it. Given that the 3 episodes we have now, it's great. I don't think they can do anything wrong at this point. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate all the support you give me. Make sure to hit the subscribe and bell icon to never miss a video from me, because YouTube is doing a dumb and they're making it to where the subscribe button doesn't work, so you have to hit the bell icon. It's like you have to subscribe to me 2 times. I don't choose to do it. YouTube forces it on everybody. It sucks. In my opinion, you should just hit the subscribe button and be done with it. But that's just me. I'm not a corporate machine. I'm just a guy. So thank you guys for watching the video. I'll see you next time.